Presidential candidate and flag bearer hopeful Dr. Alhaji Mahamudu Bawumia takes his door-to-door bold solutions for the future campaign to his hometown Wale in the northeast region. Dr. Bawumia, who concluded last week's regional tour in the Bono East region, pledged amongst others to revise the country's current import duty regime to help spare part dealers. He promised to make duty at Ghana's port less than Togo's import duties. The Vice President's campaign since the start on April 29, 2024 has seen an engagement with the clergy, imams, a courtesy call on the Regional House of Chiefs, as well as interaction with youth groups on centered policies. Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia today will, as part of his campaign, meet with the Northeast Regional House of Chiefs at the Regional Coordinating Council, donate laptop computers to students of Nalarigu Senior High School, cut sword for the construction of an AstroTurf at Gambaga, among others. Flag bearer hopeful Dr. Alhaji Mahamudu Bawumia also paid a courtesy visit to Nairi, the king of Mamprugu traditional area. Now, this is round-the-clock coverage of the Vice President door-to-door campaign, exclusively on ABC News Ghana. I'm Epiphania. Stay with us. We'll be right back with more. Welcome back to the exclusive coverage of the NPP Flag Bearers Nationwide Campaign. Now you can interact with us either via phone call or through text on the number 053-916-1609. 053-916-1609. Send me your thoughts if he has been to your region already or if he's yet to. Let us know what your expectations or experiences are. 053-916-1609. We're heading straight to Nalerigu, where he is going to meet with the clergy at the Regional Coordinating Council, and our colleague Samuel is already on standby. Hello, Samuel.
Hello, Epiphania.
What is the report from Nalerigu this afternoon?
All right, so Epiphania, the Vice President and flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Bawumia, is currently at the Regional Coordinating Council of the Northeast Region in Nalerigu, where he's scheduled to engage with the clergy and the Regional House of Chiefs. He suffered some delays along the line when he entered his hometown, Wale. Due to that, he couldn't report early because this program was supposed to start around somewhere 10 a.m. But as we report, he has just entered into the Regional Coordinating Council, where he has been received by a large crowd. If you can see behind me, some of his supporters, some of the NPP supporters are standing outside because there is no space in the auditorium to occupy all those who want to enter. And the emotions with which people are receiving the Vice President is very high here. And as I'm speaking, he's currently inside the auditorium, where the clergy were seated somewhere around 10 a.m. and they have waited for about 3 hours now. So they are currently in a session. Very soon, the Vice President and flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party will be engaging his own people from the Northeast region, after which he will also engage with the Regional House of Chiefs. And I can tell you that the enthusiasm is very high. The Regional House of Chiefs are also have also arrived at the location. Their event is also happening here at the Regional Coordinating Council. They have arrived. They are waiting for him to finish his engagement with the clergy, then proceed with the Regional House of Chiefs. So I can say that here everything is booming. The Vice President has entered the yard, and the engagement will start from any moment from now.
Thank you so much, Samuel. Now, coming back into the studio, let's move straight to look at what the Vice President engaged in earlier. Let's take a look at his arrival video when he actually arrived in Wale, his hometown. You can see throngs of people waving the New Patriotic Party flag, the excitement, the happiness, the joy, because, I mean, take note, this is not just any region for him. This is his hometown. These are his people, and he's definitely here to interact with them. So there's joy, there's enthusiasm, there's happiness. You can see him on foot with the crowd. Well, after that, he actually made sure that there was a sword cutting for an astroturf at Gambaga. Let's take a look at that video as well. So here he cut sword for an astroturf to be constructed at Gambaga. And you can still see that there are scores of people here.
Hundred and something. 100 and something. Cambodia, traffic here in the Ashote. Cutting and the Manizana,
now, Chatela, Zonoa, that's my Panama. Now one's at a Kashimala, Luzuna, Katia, Nang Tampo, Mbai. Astroturf, Gamba Astroturf, Gamba PB. Now one the Yoko, Tanaka, before Katabuti. Coleman, contractor ma, Yalamon, the Tumama, the Queen, 600 Bogum Nomi, Kuno Yoma Katanai, Katarato. Never pam that is, Gamba Kunya astroturf. Kanapu yelne sokanza dim sogro. Papa sogro because it is possible. Zunawa kanangla possible ba so masim yare tango haka katana kallan kenan zane katuyuwa kasuna kanye bol pusiya pam na na barkan
Okay, so you just saw him cut the sword for an AstroTurf in Gambaga, also known as the Gambaga Sports Complex. Now, finally, he paid a courtesy call on the Nairi, who happens to be the overlord of the Mamprugu traditional area. Let's take a look at that video.
We are very happy to be here. I'm sure the Secretary to the Vice President and another team. Now for today, totally overwhelmed. Thank you very much. His Excellency.
No Pambaya. The Girmada Vice President took on the problem. Thank you very much. To pass the Matua Idia Ukuyanu and Naglasilu in the Jim Bunkuran Jim Party, Jim Labukuraka Jim Party, Party Mati and Tanzan Party Matu, Party Mati and Tanzan Party Mati. Carlos was that.
Well, that was the Vice President when earlier today he paid a courtesy call on the Nairi, who happens to be the overlord of the Mamprugu traditional area. We're heading straight to the auditorium where he has started to address the clergy.
Democracy, politics, and what you do beyond the pulpit is insane. I'm sure you also pay school fees for people. They come to you. I'm sure they also come to you when they are in hospital and they have to buy drugs. They come to you. And they come to you for all sorts of needs. And beyond what you do from the pulpit, you also do take care for the basic needs of our people. And that's what we also do. So we have that common goal that we want to achieve. And I love quoting Exodus 18 when you make reference to what Jethro, Moses' father, visited him when he started dealing with thousands, many people. I said, hey, what is it that you are doing, Moses? You break down. No. Find amongst you able men, men who fear God, men who speak the truth, men who hate covetousness. Put them in charge of them, 50s, 100s, and let them counsel them. And if it is beyond them, then it comes to you. So when we are talking about representation or representative governance, we believe the root is from the Bible, because it is clear. And not just, it didn't say find anybody, it said find able men, men who fear God and who hate covetousness. So that's why we believe in it. Our tradition, our whole campaign is anchored on it. Not for the optics, but for sound belief that we have in it. And that's what our leader directs us for us to do. You go to Acts chapter 1, 21, when in the absence of Judas, God could have decreed, take this person. No, they went through some democratic process. Who knows the hearts of all men? And again, they talk of people who are able and who are capable, and then they cast the lot. So we always believe in that. That in terms of practicing democracy, this whole governance business, we can have so many. And you know better. Who am I to make reference to scripture before men and women of God? But we want us to know that we believe it, and our faith in this thing is joined. But you also know that this world and the works of the devil, once you plan to do something good, people will come and use propaganda, negative one, to confuse the flock. And that is why we beseech you. We are not here to say that go and tell your people to vote for us directly. No. But we are saying that in this world, other negative propaganda, tribal propaganda, religious propaganda, many other things that to be done to confuse the flock. When it comes to that, we pray and beseech you that as you intervene in the face of God, you will be able to counsel our people. We are looking for people who fear God, who manage God's people and manage the country very well. And we believe that you have the better insight to help us to achieve that. The God we serve should not be limited. He can decide to use anybody, anytime, to take care of his children. Jonathan said, our God we worship can use few or many to save lives. He can do that. Our God we serve at a point in time in Numbers 22, when Balaam was on the ox or the oxen or the horse or the ass. The human being could not see the angel of the Lord, but God used the ass. God used the ass to speak. He has power over everybody and everything. And therefore, anybody who avails himself in the fear of the Lord to be a service to God, God will use him. We believe we have a leader who has immense faith in God, who believes that God has ordered his life, who believes that God has put something in his heart to be of service to humanity and to Ghana. And that's why we come here to join our faith. Asking for your prayers. I know you pray for him today, but to have a partnership that as you pray for him and through you God answers our prayer, he will make himself available. And he wants us to say that this is not just for this time. He's going to make it part of his administration to continuously consult men and women of God. And from what even you have just said, in terms of your understanding of the needs of the people in the region. We believe that such a fellowship will continue. So, with the greatest of respect, I will invite our leader, who his purpose in his heart to be of service to humanity, to do the work of God, and we are inviting him to have such a discussion with you today. Thank you very much. I invite Mr. President to do that.
Thank you very much, Campaign Chairman Dambuki. Eminent men and women of God, Regional Minister, the Minister for Religious and Chieftaincy Affairs, our Campaign Chairman, our members of Parliament here present, for UU, for Yendi, for Waliwali, our Managing Director of a great development bank, the Chairman of Bono East NPP, the School Feeding Coordinator, Hajia Safia, my sister and my senior advisor, Dr. Susanna Aga Alo. Another senior advisor, Engineer Kwabna Ajapong, former press aide to President Kufuor, former General Secretary of the NPP. The Minister for Youth and Sports, an MP for Yagaba Kubori, Mustafa Yusuf, the MP for Tolong, and the Deputy Majority Chief Whip, Honorable Habib Soyalana. Habib Idrisu. And then we have the Chairman of the NPP for the Northern Region, Chairman Bantima Samba, the CEO of the Northern Development Authority, Lawyer Sule Sambian. I crave your indulgence to stop there and then say that I am most grateful for all of you making the time to meet with me today. You come from different parts of the Northeast region, and so getting here hasn't been an easy task, knowing some people came from Chereponi, others from many other places. And so I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for making it here for us to share a few conversations with each other. I am here on account of the fact that I am the flag bearer and the presidential candidate and the leader of the New Patriotic Party. And because of the 2024 elections, I have started my campaign tour, which will take me to all the regions. I have been so far to the Eastern region, to the Western region, to the Western North region, to Ahafu region, to Bono region, to Bono East region. And I'm starting my campaign tour of the northern regions. And I thought that if I'm starting on the northern region, I should first come home and start from home in the northeast region. And that is why I am here. And wherever I go, whichever region, I have to meet the men and the women of God. So when I came, I had to pay my respects to to the Nairi, our father, and my first meeting is with the men and the women of God. I know that it is only God who selects leaders. It is not man. It is not man, but it is God. God uses men and women to do his bidding, ultimately. But it is God who selects leaders, because we all know in the good book that unless the Lord builds the house, they will labor in vain. We will labor in vain. And that is something that always guides me in whatever I do, that you have to put God first and seek his blessings. I am here today only by the grace of God. Nobody thought that I will one day enter politics and then be selected as a running mate and then be a leader of our party and a presidential candidate. If you had told me that, I would have said it was not possible, right? I would have said no, I didn't even want to enter politics. But God, by his grace, made it possible. Because frankly, when I was contesting for the leadership of the New Patriotic Party, it was almost a refrain that says, oh, the New Patriotic Party will not choose somebody from the North to lead the New Patriotic Party, because it has never happened. That was the general thinking, that it has never happened. But I said, by the grace of God, it is possible. And that is the source of my campaign slogan. By the grace of God, it is possible. That we should always believe that God can use anyone to change any society positively. Anyone at all. His ways are not our ways. He can decide to do it in a way that we don't understand. He, like the Bible will tell you, the story of Cyrus. Cyrus wasn't even a believer in God. He wasn't. But God used him to help the people of Israel. So, a pastor friend of mine was teasing me. He says, can anything good come from Wale Wale? I said, yes, by the grace of God, something good will come out of Wale Wale. We are a blessed country. Very, very blessed. Sometimes we don't even recognize it. We are a blessed country. We are a peaceful country. And we are a very tolerant country. It's unbelievable. It's when you leave Ghana that you begin to appreciate the level of tolerance and peace that we have in Ghana. And the reason for this peace that we are having in our country is underpinned, in my opinion, by religious tolerance. That is something that is remarkable about Ghana, a country where the chief imam celebrated his 100th birthday by going to the Catholic Church. Chief imam celebrated his 100th birthday and went to the Catholic Church. You've had pastors go to the mosque. And that is just very, very beautiful. That is the nature of our country, the tolerance. Myself, My father, has 17 surviving children. 17. Very interesting. When he married my mother at the time my father was courting her, she was a Christian, attending Wesley Girls School in Cape Coast. She had to convert, as you can understand, to marry my father. But I could always see the Christian in her had not quite gone away, in a way. But, you know, we are 17 children my father had. 17. What is interesting is 9 of us are Christian, 8 of us are Muslim. Out of the 17, 9 are Christian, 8 are Muslim, which is very remarkable. So in my house, growing up, you always had the Bible and you always had the Quran. And we read both to try to get an understanding. And for me, religious tolerance is ingrained right from childhood. Right from childhood. You know, I have a brother who preaches, Ben, who is here, Bawa. And when I was young, you know, many of my brothers, of course, in Nalego here, they were attending Baptist. They were Baptist. So whenever I came, I would join them and we'll go to church. For me, as a young man in Tamale, I was a member of the Methodist Boys Brigade. Yes. I was a member of the Methodist Boys Brigade as a young man. I was sure and steadfast. Today, I am vice president. Today, and I am patron of the Methodist Boys Brigade of Ghana. I am a Muslim, but I am vice president. I am a patron of the Methodist Boys Brigade of Ghana. Last year, I went to the Presby Church in Akropong. They were celebrating their 100th centenary. My campaign chairman was there. I was invited, Dambuchi. Of course, you know he's a Presbyterian. If he hadn't gone into politics, he would have been a priest. So we went to the Akropong Presbyterian Church 100th year anniversary. And I, of course, I know what the Akropong Church, the Presbyterian Church, has done for Ghana in general. And so at the end of the service, I made an announcement that to honor the work of the Akropong Presby Church and what they have done, I was going to build a school for the Presby Church in Kwaboantang, in the Eastern region. So I built a school. So I built a school for the Presby Church in Kwaboantang, in the Eastern region. And we went and commissioned it and did everything very nicely. And it went very well. I work very closely with a Catholic father called Father Campbell in Accra. He and I share a love for lepers. And so he has this Lepers Aid organization that looks after the lepers. He's a Catholic priest, I'm a Muslim. But I am a patron of the Lepers Aid Society in Ghana, and we work very closely. And I'm most happy when we work together. Recently, he set up the Mother Teresa's soup kitchen. And I'm also a patron of the Mother Teresa's soup kitchen. Even though he's Christian and Muslim, we are working together because we are looking after God's children. And it is very clear, therefore, when you look at my background, my family background, my background, even before I went into politics. You know, because a lot of my close relationship with the church predates my entry into politics. Politics has been more recent, but my close relationship with the church has been from childhood. So by my nature, my constitution, and what I have done, I don't discriminate on the basis of religion. I just don't. It is that it doesn't. Otherwise, I'll discriminate against my own brothers and sisters. If I was going to discriminate on the basis of religion, more than half my brothers and sisters are Christian, and I love them so much. And so, generally speaking, if you look at me, I mean, if you come to where I work at Jubilee House, someone pointed out my staff, you know, to say, the whole staff is largely Christian. And then, but it was not purposely done. It was just, those are the people I chose because they are competent and all of that, and I could work with them. I don't choose people to work for me on the basis of religion. You know, it doesn't. I don't discriminate on that basis. I'm looking for people who can help us uplift the country and uplift the people of this country. That is what I look for, and when I hire. So, as a candidate for the president, I want you to pray for me, to seek the face of God on my behalf. You are God's representatives on earth. This is the reality. And so, when you speak, I believe God hears and listens more than when we, the ordinary ones, speak. I will say that there are a number of reasons why I want you to pray for me so that I can become president of Ghana. And many of you, and us in many of the country, would say, well, why should we vote for you? But I think that if you look at a number of reasons, firstly, I believe that our government, even though we haven't done everything, the performance of the government is far superior than the performance of the government of my main opponent in this election. That is the comparative that we are looking at. So if you look at what we have done across, whether it's agriculture, whether it's roads, whether it's industry, whether it's airports, railways, public libraries, courts that we have built, classroom blocks, hospitals, fish landing sites, sanitation facilities, sports facilities, rural telephony, the Ghana card, digital address system, mobile interoperability, medical drones, the fight against corruption, paperless passport applications, renewal of NHIS memberships, elimination of ghost names, the National Ambulance Service, the insurance, support to sickle cell farmers, sufferers, free Wi-Fi at schools, primary school education, secondary school education, tertiary education, STEM schools, TVET education, teacher training allowances, nursing training, as well as free SHS. All of these, we have performed much better than the government of my main opponent. Much. There's a big gap. So even though there's more to do, and we've created more jobs in the last 7 years than any other government in the history of this country, 2.1 million jobs, even though we still have more to do, and that is why I want to continue. But if you come home and come to the Northeast region, I can say without any fear of contradiction that the Northeast region under the NPP government has seen more development than under any government in the history of this country. More development than under any government in this country. We've created the region because we wanted to see development. That is what resulted. I mean, if it was not for the NPP government, the Northeast region would not have existed. It would not have existed. There were no plans to create the region. But in the 2016 manifesto, which I was chair of the manifesto committee of our party, we put in that manifesto that we were going to create new regions. And Northeast region was created. And that has really expanded the development opportunities for the region. You have this beautiful RCC that we are sitting in. We have many government offices, insurance, health insurance, agri, education, that are dotted all over the region. This would not have happened. There would have been only one in Tamale, and that would have been it. The regional office in Tamale. Now you have one in Nalego, you have one that is going on in Savannah, other. The House of Chiefs, every region had 5. Today, Northeast alone has 5 representatives in the House of Chiefs. Before, we had only one police commander for the whole of the northern region. But now you have one for Northeast, one for Savannah, one for northern region. So whatever is going to any region, to the Northeast region. So the development opportunities are high. If you look at the projects we have done in Northeast region, and I was looking at the data yesterday, you have completed 378 projects in the Northeast region. Completed in the last 7 years. 378 projects, and there are 138 projects that are ongoing, which we will do that. And these include 93 classroom blocks that we have built. Courts, 5 court buildings that we have built. 15 health centers. And we are in the process of constructing 4 district hospitals under Agenda 111, Yagba, Bunkurugu, and Cherponi. We have 1 STEM school in Northeast. The whole of Ghana, there are 10 STEM schools. And we have 1 in the Northeast. We have 3 AstroTurfs in terms of sports facilities. But we are going to have more before the end of the year. We are pushing, just cut the sword for Gambaga AstroTurf. We are going to have 1 in Bunkurugu. We are having 1 in Cherponi, and we will have 1 in Yunyo. 1 is also in Bimsi. So we are going to have a spread of AstroTurfs all across, and we want all of them done this year, and that is something. And I think Langbinsi is also going to get an AstroTurf. And so that is really something at how we occupy the youth. We have built at least, we have brought into play at least about 8 new senior high schools in the Northeast region. 8. Langbinsi, Sakogo, Janga, Pasimpia, Yuyo, Napandu, Ribimbago, Nasoni, Bintiri are all senior high schools. Of course, Pasimpia is a STEM school, and we are looking to do more. I know that others are in the pipeline, but I think that we have done a lot more senior high schools than we had between independence and 2017. We have added more senior high schools in 7 years than we had in 60 years of independence. we have come to add more senior high schools than we had before. So it means we are taking this very seriously. A military barracks in Nalergo is taking place. We want to do that. We have 6 new police stations in the region, and we have 41 dams under One Village, One Dam in the region. 16 water supply systems, 5 warehouses, 24 chips compounds. And we have a fire service training school in Wungu, the 2nd in the whole of Ghana. We have zipline medical drones delivery service serving the Northeast from Vopsi. Now there are 6 drone centers in Ghana, and we have one in the Northeast here. And it is saving lives every day. Every day they are sending flights all around. Average of about 100 flights a day across the centers. Sending blood, sending medicine, sending vaccines, all across the region, and we are saving lives. And what is interesting about the drone centers is that they are 100% manned by Ghanaians. These are not some white people running it. These are Ghanaians, 100% running the drones, flight operations. Recently, Ghana now is the whole world. We are the leading country in medical drone delivery service. The whole world, Ghana is leading in medical drone delivery service. So recently, they needed an expert in San Francisco. They came to Wale Vopsi and picked one of our flight operators and sent him to San Francisco. He's in San Francisco. This is telling you that we are at the frontiers of technology, saving lives every day. Of course, we've done a lot of roads, even though we haven't done all. Nalergo town roads, Gambaga, Wale, Kubori Gorba, and Kubori Zanwara, Tantala, Zupini, EJC, Nangruma, many roads. And we have still to do Bunkugu, Nalergo, which is key. And we are trying to get the contractor back on this road. It's a very, very key road for me. And we've got to see some progress very, very soon. We are also working on the Bintiri Nalergo road, and we want to see the Yendi Cherponi road also done, and as well. That is very, very important. Cherponi town roads, Gulugu Pasipia, Nasia Janga, Nasia Mimima. Yagba Kubore Mankargu, a lot of progress has been made. Since independence, we have been looking to bridge the Misho River, Prima area, since independence. And I am happy to say it looks like this year we are about to lay that bridge across the Yagaba, the Prima Misho Bridge. This is going to cut the cost of the transportation going to Yagaba from Wale. It's going to really make it a 1-hour journey. And that is going to, because you don't really need to go all across sometimes through, Sandema and all of that. You don't. So we are going to really, and these are major farming areas and so on. So we are going to do a whole lot. Work is ongoing on the watermelon factory. I got an update on it, and they are also hoping to finish it this year. They are very, very much on it, and all of that. The shea butter factory also. And we are also establishing a number of nursing and midwifery training colleges. We have done one for the, Yagaba Kubori constituency. Wale is starting in September. I think the principal has been appointed, and we are going to work on Chereponi, which is the next one to also start. you know, and you know, what I would like to see, which is not just for the Northeast, but for all the other regions, we want to make sure we have universities in all the new regions as well. So I want to say that the data, I'm not just saying it, but the data says very clearly that our government has done more for the Northeast than any other government in terms of development. And I've not even mentioned the free senior high school education. What is so amazing, is that in terms of enrollment, we've seen a major jump, 75% increase from 800,000 to 1.4 million in senior high schools. But what is most interesting about this enrollment is that the northern regions, the 5 northern regions, are leading, are number 1 in the enrollment in the whole of Ghana. Number 1. And I think Northeast is actually number 1 in the whole of Ghana. The whole of Ghana in terms of enrollment into senior high school. That's amazing. We are around 94% across the country. We are leading. And what is even more important is that there are more girls now coming into senior high school than boys. Before we started free SHS, for every 100 boys, there were 68 girls. Today, for every 100 boys, there are 106 girls. So the girls have overtaken the boys, which is a good sign for building a nation, because we are educated. And what is also important is that the performance of the students has gone up. It's very strong performance. They are doing very well, to the extent that the top 3 students in the whole of West Africa Exams Council, all the top 3 came from Ghana. The top 3 were all from Ghana. So I say that we have done a whole lot for Ghana. We have done a whole lot for the Northeast. But if you look at my performance as Vice President compared to that of my opponent's performance as Vice President or even as President, I believe that if you look at the initiatives that I have brought up or have championed, there are so many, over 30, that I have overseen as Vice President. The Ghana card issuance, our digital address system, mobile money interoperability, digitalization of the ports, the passport office, zipline drones, the no guarantor for student loans with the Ghana card, one constituency, one ambulance, Agenda 111, one village, one dam, the Sino Hydro Barter Agreement, being able to buy ECG credit on your mobile phone, renew your NHIS on your mobile phone, and so many other things, gold for oil policy, and all of that. I've been, by the grace of God, been able to champion all of these, and these are very, very important for our people, helping our people. So I say that if I've been able to do this as a Vice President with its constitutional limitations, then if you make me President, I believe I can do much more for Ghana. I believe I can do much more for Ghana. My vision, by the grace of God, if I become President of Ghana, is to transform this country through a number of initiatives. I want to change the way so many things are done. I want us to refocus on agriculture. I believe that the key to reducing the cost of living is to reduce the cost of food and to make food very plentiful. So I'm going to have a focus on agriculture, commercial agriculture, application of technology, satellite, soil, drone technology, and all of that to agriculture. I think that if we commercialize agriculture, mechanize agriculture, digitalize agriculture, we will produce significantly more. And you look at even across the border in Burkina Faso, they've applied a lot of technology in agriculture, and that has yielded them a lot. And they are exporting tomatoes to us and onions to us, when our land is more fertile than theirs. So we have to really look at that. But I want to focus on agriculture. Number two, the cost of living in terms of electricity, its cost and its availability. I want Ghana to move away from a reliance on fuel to a reliance on solar power. The solar power is the key to our independence as far as power is concerned. We will bring down the cost of power by 50% if we move to solar. And I want us to move immediately in the first 4 years to add 2,000 megawatts of solar power to our grid. And that is very feasible and doable. I also want us, as we move, the technology is available for Ghana to start producing solar panels. We should not just be importing the solar panels to be doing this. The technology is there. We should capacitate our people to start producing solar panels so that we can even be exporting to the rest of the West Africa. And that is where I believe we should be going. So solar power will help us tremendously. I also want to significantly empower the private sector and reduce government role in the economy. Reduce government expenditure by about 3% of GDP within our first 4 years, if God gives us the chance. So that means 3% of GDP is about 30 billion, and rather allow the private sector to undertake those expenditures. There's so much expenditure in the area of schools, infrastructure, roads, that the private sector is willing, buses for schools and so on, that the private sector is willing to do if we only give them the chance. So government can empower the private sector and will pay them bit by bit. And we don't have to go and take all our money to go and invest in one thing. We can use the money for other things. So I think that we should reduce the expenditure. And when we reduce government expenditure and empower the private sector, more projects will be completed. More projects will be completed and more jobs will be created. But if you start a project and you cannot finish it, then you send the workers away. A lot of schools have uncompleted projects. But you see Legon, Tech and so on, most of the hostels are built by the private sector, not the university. So we can have an arrangement with the private sector and therefore make sure that infrastructure in schools, on our roads, water and so on, the private sector can do a whole lot of that. One of the things I want to really change in Ghana is to change the tax system. Our tax system, we have lived with it since independence. We inherited it from the British, but it isn't working for us. Most of us don't understand what our tax obligations are until you receive a bill from GRA, which you cannot even understand. A lot of our business people don't even understand. They say, pay this or we'll shut your shop and all of that. I studied this issue and I wanted to find out which countries have the best tax systems. The research showed that Estonia was the country with the best tax system. They are number one in tax competitiveness for the last 10 years. So I took a team and went to Estonia and studied their system, and I came back very convinced that Ghana should move towards a flat tax system. A flat tax, for all of you men and women of God, you know, is very similar to the tithe that we pay in church. If it's 10%, it's 10%. Everybody understands what you are supposed to pay. So then there is no discretion in the matter. Everybody knows that if your tax is 10%, it's 10%. If you make a profit of 1,000, you pay 100. Everybody can calculate it. It's very clear. So by the grace of God, in 2025, we will move to a flat tax system. It will make compliance very easy, and it will make us collect more tax revenue. But to be able to start with a new flat tax system, I am going to make sure we all start on a clean slate, which means that I'm bringing in a tax amnesty for all individuals and businesses starting in 2025, so that we will all start on a clean slate. Recently, I visited the Vatican to seek audience with Pope Francis, His Holiness. And I was very honored and privileged to seek audience with him. And we had a good discussion. And he told me that one of the things he likes about Ghana is the peace and the religious tolerance that we have in Ghana. And I asked him to pray for us and to continue to pray for us. As Cardinal Texan, who is over there, took me around the basilica to show me, I saw some work going on, and I asked him, what is this for? He said, oh, we are getting ready for next year, 2025. That is a Jubilee year. And so the Jubilee year, we are preparing for it. And I said, oh, what happens? He said, well, the Jubilee year is a year where we forgive a lot of things, and so there's a lot of forgiveness. And I then said, oh, in that case, in 2025, I'm also going to forgive taxes in Ghana. That is a good thing for us to do in the Jubilee year in 2025. And we had a very good laugh over it. I also want to realign the import duty system in Ghana. The import duty system, I believe, we need to take another look at it. I again believe that we should move towards a flat duty system, because it confuses a lot of importers. Between when they import something and when it arrives, the duty can change, and then they are not able to pay. I want us to have flat duties. If you are bringing in spare parts, for a 40-foot container, this is the amount you pay. If it's a 20-foot, this is the amount you pay in cities. And in that case, bribery and corruption will not come in that much, because it is set, and we will know what is due before it's even arriving. And that will help us, whether it's rice, whether it's clothes, whatever. We can move to a flat duty system, and I think that is what we should move to. The second aspect of the tax regime in the import duty side that I want to bring is to make sure Ghana aligns its duties with Togo, with Lomé Port, because there's a lot of smuggling that takes place. Even when we are here, you go to smuggling Sankasi and all of that, they will smuggle motorbikes in and so on. And that is because there's a general sense, of course, that the duties in Togo are lower than those in Ghana. So smuggling takes place and we don't get the revenue. So I'm going to change it, and we will bring a new policy. Our duty will not be higher than Togo's duty. We will put that cap there. We will be lower or the same. When that policy comes into place, there will be no need for anybody to smuggle through Togo, and they will therefore come through Ghana, and we will do it. I also want to digitalize land. A lot of our disputes in court, I was talking to the Chief Justice just 2 days ago, or that was Saturday night, yes. And she was also making the point that a lot of the court disputes are around land. And therefore, it's about ownership. I own this, then someone goes to sell it and says they own it. And one of the problems we are having is that a lot of land is not registered. It's not registered because sometimes even a lot of the stool lands are so large that for a paramount chief to go and register the land, they will ask for fees which they cannot pay. So they will leave the land unregistered, and that creates problems. So we are going to digitalize the land registration and titling process, do the mapping, so that you can sit on your mobile phone, enter the coordinates of any plot, and know exactly who owns this land. And know exactly who owns this land. So there is no need to hire land guards and so on. The courts will know, we will have a very smooth process of land administration in Ghana. And to encourage people, therefore, to register their land, we will not charge fees immediately for land registration. Because land registration is an infrastructure that is important for us. We need to get it done. It's like the way we don't charge for the Ghana card when you go to register for the first time. Because it's important for us. Everybody must have it. Everybody must register their land. So you allow everybody to register their land. Maybe when they sell it, then you can take away your fee. You see what I mean? So then we can encourage everybody. Then once we have that, then we have that infrastructure, we can develop a mortgage market. You stop all these problems that we have. So one of the big things I want to do is land registration. I also want to make sure that I introduce a golden age in the management of our natural resources. We have a lot of natural resources. We haven't even explored even up to half of it. Gold is all over this place. All over. I mean, now as people are waking up to see that gold is across